pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call of members.
Terry Roth.
Here.
Randy Rozika.
Here.
Shauna Zerwood. Jeff Eidman.
Here.
Tony Grass. Justin Donovan.
Here.
Kathleen Walls. Here. We have a quorum.
Approve the agenda for February 17th.
I'm sorry. I just thought for voting purposes. Okay.
Approval of agenda for February 17th, 2015 meeting. Approval of minutes, introduction of evidence, citizen input, new business for the tenant of H.M. Goldberg II LLP Tractor Supply Company to obtain a special use permit to utilize 19,125 square feet of parking space in front of the building at 20 Plaza Drive, Alco space for outdoor merchandise display and special use permit for the above-ground storage of propane gas for sale. The site is Zone C1 General Commercial, and the merchandise to be sold outdoors is incited to the type of business that is proposed for the location. Old business and adjournment.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion? Got a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of minutes from October 6, 2014.
Motion to approve.
The motion? Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Introduction of evidence. Everyone has it in their packet, correct? Anything to add?
Yes, the St. Genevieve Municipal Code, the 1997 Comprehensive Plan, of course, the staff report, and all the attendant files that were sent along with that.
Do we need a motion to accept that, or a motion to accept it?
Second.
Got a motion, 2 seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Citizen input, I take it everyone that is in the audience is pertaining to the special use permit, correct? We'll go into new business. For the tenant of H.M. Goldberg II LLP Tractor Supply Company to obtain a special use permit to utilize 19,125 square feet of parking space in front of the building at 20 Plaza Drive, Alco space for outdoor merchandise display and a special use permit for the above ground storage of the propane gas for sale. The site is on C1 General Commercial, and the merchandise to be sold outdoors is incited to the type of business that is proposed for this location. Questions, comments from the board?
If we could go through each item, the first item, which is the parking separate from the propane gas, that would be great.
Will that be two actual separate?
Yeah,
special use permits?
yes, they'll act as two separate permits.
Would anyone like to address the board on it?
If you could just give a general description of what's going to happen, that would be great.
Sure, I'm happy to. I'm Steve Goldenberg. I'm with H&M Goldenberg, to the owner as well as Golden Management, the property management company for the shopping center. So obviously with the news that Alco was closing, we were very excited at the possibility of Tractor Supply coming into our shopping center, and they were very upfront with us. In order for them to open the location, similar to all their locations that they have across the country, they would require this outside storage, outside display area for some of the items that they sell. To me, they're a first-class outfit that certainly fits a void that currently exists in St. Genevieve, so I certainly thought that it made a lot of sense to pursue it and come in front of you with the permit. The area that they're talking about is actually in front of space that is currently used by Alco and will be used by Tractor Supply as warehouse space. So it isn't even, there's side warehouse space. At one point, It was front retail, and since Alco moved in, the door was closed off, and it's actually storage. So really the parking spots that are being taken up aren't really in front of any current retail. It's in front of their storage, which is side warehouse space. But I'm happy to answer any questions anyone has.
That's gonna be the general area where Alco always had their greenhouse set up too, correct?
You know, I was trying to remember where Alco had their greenhouse. For some reason, I thought Alco
No.
had their greenhouse on the other side.
It was on the other side
One
along,
time, I think it might have been over.
It might have been, because they never had a real permanent structure. This is, on the Domino side of the center. And, to us, even at the busy time at Alco, there's always been ample parking. We even thought in our minds that we had the possibility of putting a freestanding retail outlet in that section of the shopping center closer to the highways, because there was so much excess parking. Probably true even back in the days when it was the grocery store. So we certainly didn't think it hurt anything to have this outside display area.
Questions or comments from the board? Katrina, any questions?
I just wanted to point out that there is a report in there from the fire chief that obviously the addition of propane gas increases the hazard of what's there today. But he says that as long as there's a fire plan, which they do typically for anybody that goes in and has any kind of use like this, as long as there's a plan, then there's no issue at all. They just need to know what's there so that they can prepare in case something would happen.
Which, that's normal for you guys to go through pre-plans for stuff. Is
And I
that
take it there'll be a, sorry, go ahead.
Is that part of the occupancy permit too, that they don't get their
Yes.
occupancy permit until there's a pre-plan?
That's right. We
Okay.
would require it there, and we also have, on the back of the staff report, the conditions that we would like to have imposed in the special use permit for the propane. This is in conformance with our ordinance and the Missouri regulations on above-ground fuel storage tanks. So whatever we approve, it needs to come with this, if you're in agreement. But yes, we would require them to have the fire plan. But because he checked yes on substantially increased fire hazard, I wanted to clarify that point, that it's not a problem as long as there's a fire plan in place. So that could be required as a part of the condition as well, that you all could place on in this special use
So I take it that something along this line with barriers around it, so
Yes.
theoretically nobody could run into it.
permit. That's right.
Yes.
The only issue, this is the Farmington store, and the only issue was that they didn't have barricades in the front, they just had the fence. And that would not probably sustain the 6,000 pounds of pressure from an automobile, so we would require the bollards around the entire thing. And that's included in the conditions on that back page. I just, they set it up this way because they had display there, that's fine, but, it wouldn't withstand a car, going through it, I don't think. So we would require those bollards and them marked. And I talked to the construction manager for Tractor Supply, and they do this all the time. They're used to fulfilling these type of requirements, so it's not a big deal at all for them to do so.
where is that? It's probably on here, but where is that propane tank on the site plan?
It has to be a certain footage from, so we did not have them put exactly where it would be because it has to be a certain amount of feet from the entrance.
Okay.
So that, as long as it meets that, and that will be part of the fire plan and our occupancy, what we'll look at when it goes in. They'll propose that before, I assume that they'll propose that before they actually come in, because they'll have to meet those requirements. And I think it's, how many feet from the entrance, from the building, I'm sorry?
25.
25 feet. So really, it could go anywhere. It's just going to be whatever's the most convenient for, people pulling up and doing whatever they need to do. At Farmington, you had to go into the building and then out into the fenced-in yard to fill your tank. So I don't know how they'll do it here because this is obviously not attached to the building. They'll have a separate entrance and not sure how that will work. So the only thing we'd have to make sure of is that everyone was comfortable with acknowledging that the criteria listed for the recommendation of approval, that the answers are in the negative, and if there's any issues with any one of those, then you should raise those ahead of time if we're going to handle it all in one motion. That is substantially increase hazards or congestion, adversely affect the character of the neighborhood, substantially increase fire hazards, adversely affect the general welfare of the community, overtax public utilities, be in conflict with the comprehensive plan. And so as long as all those are no, then the recommendations would be for approval by the Board of Aldermen, and that's what we're saying.
Alderman Place, Kathy.
I would just like to say thank you. Thank you so much for not forgetting about our shopping center and filling an anchor unit before we even have the other one closed out. St. Genevieve appreciates it, and we know that you'll be a good manager for Tractor Supply. I'd like to make a motion to approve.
I got a motion.
Based off staff.
Yes, based off the staff recommendations.
Second.
Got a motion and a second?
And that's for the first item, just the okay for using the parking lot.
Correct.
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Okay, go back to my list here. Gary Raw,
Yes.
Randy Rozika,
Yes.
Shauna Zerwig, Jeff Eidman,
Yes.
Tony Grass, Justin Donovan,
Yes.
Kathleen Waltz,
Yes.
Joe Prince.
Yes.
I'm sorry, who made the second on that motion?
I did.
You did, okay.
And now we go into,
And you do the second, the propane.
yeah. On the propane special.
And I make a motion to approve that based off the conditions for placement as set forth in the staff report.
Second.
Got a motion and a second?
Okay. Gary Raw?
Yes.
Randy Rozika?
Yes.
Shauna Zerwig? Jeff Eidman?
Yes.
Tony Grass? Justin Donovan?
Yes.
Kathleen Waltz?
Yes.
Joe Prince.
Yep.
Okay, when will that go to the board?
That will go to the board next Thursday.
Next
Thank you
Thursday.
so much, everyone.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Welcome to St. Genevieve.
We have any old business? I got a question. And you may not even know the answer. In our old, or in the past, when we issue a special use permit, there is usually a time frame attached to it. Who reviews that?
Well, that's been a dilemma.
Okay.
As you probably are aware, we don't have a great system for tagging things and having them come up. That's something I'd like to change because I don't like the uncertainty of, like I just got something today, somebody's permit was up in January. I'm like, why didn't we know, So I'd like to have a system, and our files are not complete mess, but one of my projects going forward, and it probably will be happening very soon, is to get those all in order and note all the dates, have some sort of calendaring system so that we know when something comes up. You can put those on there, but you don't have to. I mean, it's not a requirement that you make them come in. It can be open-ended.
Right.
But I appreciate that there have
I understand
been
there were
ones
some
that.
that were, over a year ago and that had a year condition to them.
Yeah.
and,
It's
you know,
been,
that-
I think haphazard as to whether or not
If that
it's,
comes back to us,
it will come back to you,
Okay.
is my understanding. Unless it says for renewal by the Board of Aldermen, then it won't come back to you. I mean, because the idea is that the business is operated within the confines of whatever conditions you all set forth and is okay. I mean, that's the whole idea of the renewal. I mean, this type of business, I don't think you're gonna have to worry, but you have
No.
other businesses where, you know, if they're near
Usually it's
residential
an-
areas, there
or
are
an in-home.
concerns.
I would say unless there's complaints, you
Right.
just sort of let them go. you
Right,
know.
right.
Yeah.
But we do have
Well,
some
no,
that have
'cause we
been,
ran into issues with that in the past.
and
Yeah.
I think to be fair, it ought to come back up because that is a condition of, is that you come back every couple of years and kind of report in how things going, if we had any issues. Do you want to, you know, tweak the conditions, that sort of thing. So I'd like to get all of that ready and then we can kind of see where we are, who's not had renewals and needs them, and go forward that way. But I honestly, I can tell you that we don't have a good system, and we need to get one in place because it is important that the conditions are met. It wastes all your time if we put all conditions on things and they're ignored or they're a problem for operations and they don't really need to be in place or whatever the circumstance may be, and to address complaints.
Do you need an intern or somebody to help you sort through those file drawers and make a tickler file?
Well, right, yeah, I know, I like the old tickler file.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I think Laura and I can handle it.
Okay,
Because
good.
I need to go through it substantively, and she's gonna clean up all the files
Okay,
and
great.
get them.
Are you looking for a hobby?
No, no, I'm not.
I have intern opportunities potentially for other things, but not that.
No, I wasn't suggesting myself.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think we have one coming up, and I don't know if it had, I have to look at it to find out if it has to come before you all first, or has to go to the board, or just goes to the board, so, yeah.
You have to go to work.
Motion to
Motion
adjourn?
adjourned. No. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.